In this video, I want to show you guys how to draw some minimalist geometrical patterns. And as we draw them, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about their meanings. Basically, what kind of like shape or pattern could represent for you in your life. So you're aware of, the energy you're creating in your home if you're gonna decorate your house or gift it to a friend, for example. Anyway, let's get started. So to create a beautiful art gallery wall in your home, you're gonna need several artworks in different sizes. And to start, you should just pick the wall you're gonna hang the artworks in to know the colors that you're gonna work with. In my case, I'm working with this dark green wall that I recently painted, and I'm doing a whole video on this dining room renovation soon. But this is the base color for my gallery wall. And once you decide where in your house your gallery wall will be, think about the things around it that you can harmonize with. So like maybe you have a couch, a dining table, maybe you have another artwork that you want to complement with other artworks. What is something that stands out to you that you want to support your color scheme? Since I'm starting with my green wall, my starting point is green. I don't necessarily need to use green for the artworks, but I want to find colors that would go well with this green. You can honestly pick as many colors as you want. It all depends on your taste, like how colorful you want this gallery wall to be. I personally am not the biggest fan of everything being so colorless, which seems to be kind of like the trend lately. And especially now that I'm living in Canada, the winters get so gray and so white, and I really crave color in my home. So I'm gonna take the risk and I'm gonna try using these oranges, a dark green that will kind of match the wall, and black. Now that we have our colors, we need papers in different sizes, and to make it easier for you when you go frame your drawings, these are the most traditional sizes of frames that you're gonna find in any store. Even the dollar store, you can find awesome frames as well, but they're all gonna have like these traditional sizes. And once your papers are ready, we can finally start drawing. To start, we're going to create a super beautiful geometrical pattern that will make your gallery wall look super modern and cool. I'm gonna use a ruler and pencil to sketch with the proper dimensions, but if you're going for a more imperfect look, which it's totally fine, it's gonna look amazing, you can totally just freehand draw this as well. It doesn't have to be all stiff and perfect like I'm gonna try to achieve on mine. So to start, I'm drawing a simple grid, and it's leaving me perfect 1 by 1 inch squares, and inside each square I'm gonna use a compass to create half circles that will go from one side to another. I'm actually doing this pretty randomly in all 4 directions, so like the semicircles sometimes point up, down, right, or left. After this step is done, you can start painting the semicircles, or you can paint just the square surrounding the semicircle and leave the semicircle white. The idea is to be random. There's really not much of a rule for you to follow. The one thing I noticed that makes it look really good is to observe where there are spots that would end up too white. Like if your painted semicircles are leaving a big white space, that's a good spot for you to paint the square around the semicircle, just so there's not like a big white spot on your drawing. You can also totally use 2 colors or more to do this. You could make this super colorful, but I kind of like this monochromatic look and the contrast with the white, so I'm just gonna use this green. And yeah, this is our first illustration. I think it's super cute and it's gonna look amazing on our gallery wall. Next, we're going to do a super simple and quick one. To start, find the center point of your paper, and with a ruler you can mark some even distances from the center point. I'm marking a dot every 1 centimeter from the center, and now with the compass you can draw the circles using the distances you marked, and you're basically creating circles inside of one another but with the same distance between each other. Try not to mark the pencil too hard on the paper because we're going to erase this later, and these pencil marks are not going to show in the end result. Now with the marker of your choice, I'm using the brush side of this alcohol marker. We can draw some dashes that are supposed to look more imperfect like this, using the circles as guides. This one gives me a feeling of like expansion and growth, and also like focus, because like a target I'm focusing on. So yeah, this is the type of energy I want on my walls for sure. And once you're done, you can erase the pencil, and this is our second minimalist illustration. It's not super elaborate at all, but it will be a great complementary piece for the gallery effect. For our third one, I ended up making this a little more complicated than it needed to be, and I'm gonna explain why and how you can make this easier. The base of this pattern pattern is lines that are evenly distanced between each other, both vertically and horizontally. Again, you can totally do this by hand. You don't have to make it perfect, but I wanted to make it perfect, so I used the ruler. You can just the distance between them, but try to make the same distance both vertical and horizontal. And the idea is to randomly make the vertical and horizontal lines overlap to create this effect where they are almost like intertwined like this. And to make it more dynamic, I'm turning the intersections between the horizontal and vertical lines into curves like this. I'm basically choosing these sections super randomly. I'm not really like following any rules. I'm just basically looking at the spaces I have. So like if a space has already too many horizontal lines, then I try to create a vertical section and so on. I actually really like making these illustrations where I use the ruler and make it a more like controlled drawing, if that's even a thing, because it kind of like gives me this sense of control and structure. So if you're a person that is like too much in control in your life and you're kind of like craving to go more with the flow and just relax a little more, this one might be a little, you know, boring for you to do because you're already doing this so much in your life, right? So in this case, you might want to like let go of the ruler, let go of all of these rules and structures and just create a more like relaxed result. I personally in my life have been feeling that like life is just very chaotic right now, and I'm going through a phase where I'm struggling to be in control like of my time, of my money, of my responsibilities. So this like very structured drawing is something that is giving me a lot of comfort, and it just calms my heart, reminds me that like everything is gonna be okay, everything is in its right place, you know what I mean? So this is a great way for you to start putting intention in your art, especially if you're gonna hang them on your walls. They're gonna be like visual reminders of thoughts and feelings and things for you. Anyway, back to the drawing. Here I'm still just painting the strips like this and leaving a small gap between each strip, and I actually like this effect of some of them being painted and some are not. Like I like this unfinished look. I actually thought about just leaving it like this, but I'm actually really enjoying to do it, and I kind of want to see what it's gonna look like once it's fully painted. So yeah, I'm just gonna paint the whole thing. And this is another beautiful pattern that will look awesome together with our other artworks in our gallery wall. I'm so excited how this is turning out. And yeah, now I'm gonna show you the easy way to create something similar that won't take so long, and it's just gonna be more flowy, more relaxed, no ruler, just a more simple way to do it. I'm using the chisel tip side of my marker, and basically all I have to do is draw some lines in both directions, leaving a gap in between so that the lines never touch. And again, this is very random. I didn't sketch, I didn't plan ahead. I'm just trying to create different sections on this page, and you can see the intersection between vertical and horizontal lines create this like invisible diagonal angle here that looks super interesting, and it's gonna create a super strong and powerful statement on your gallery wall. Of course, I chose black, so that's a little more powerful. That's, you know, like a big contrast. I'm using this chisel tip that's like a large strip of paint. I mean, there's so many ways you can do this. You can create a thinner line to create a more delicate effect. You can use a lighter color to create a more smooth and more delicate effect. So it all depends on the mood you want to create with your gallery wall. This next one I was actually not gonna show you on this video because I ended up hating it, but I'm gonna show you anyway because I feel like it could be better if I had chosen different colors, and you know, it just might be an idea for you. Basically, all you have to do is draw some random shapes and paint them inside. I used the orange and then this deeper papaya color, and I'm also leaving a tiny gap in between the shapes so they also never touch, which seems to be a theme. So yeah, I was kind of trying to get out of this more controlled way of drawing using rulers and compass, and I wanted to make something more loose and more relaxed, but I don't know, I think maybe I'm just like craving more structure in my life. So yeah, this one is just not feeling so right in my heart. This is a good lesson for you. Like, it's totally fine if you do an artwork that you don't like, you know, like this is a great practice for you to listen to your inner wisdom on what is the visual representations of this moment of your life. You know what I mean? I feel like art can represent so many things and can tell us so much about ourselves. So this is a great exercise. It's just a great way to ask yourself, like, why do I like this shape more than this shape? Why does this color feel better to me than this? Like, it might not have like a clear answer. You might just like more one than another, but what if there is a reason? What if the movement of that shape brings you some sort of feeling that the other shape doesn't bring, and then you can like, oh, okay, maybe I'm craving to feel more like this in my life, you know what I mean? Anyway, moving on to the next one, I am going to go back to my structured system here, which again, you don't have to use the ruler or compass for anything. If you like a more relaxed look, that's the energy you want to create in your home, by all means, this sounds amazing. But for me, I'm enjoying this process, so I mark the semicircles facing away from each other like this with a thinner tip from my marker, and I'm drawing these rainbow shaped lines like this that I think it's a super cool pattern, kind of cliche, like a lot of people do that, but I think it's really cool. And to make it more interesting, I decided to add a circle in green inside of the rainbow. To be honest, the orange, I don't know why I chose orange. Orange is really not my color, but I'm trusting the flow of things at this point. So the green kind of like brings this roundness to, you know, the fire that comes from the orange that sometimes is uncomfortable to me. So yeah, this is a super simple drawing that will be a very cute addition to our gallery wall. And now that we played a lot with geometrical patterns, I thought it would be a good balance to create some foliage and some like botanicals, you know, to kind of, you know, add some life to our wall. So here I'm basically drawing a long stem with some leaves, and I just love to draw the leaves folded like this, like creating like some folds. Just add some movement, it makes it interesting. I just love it. But you can also make it even more like minimalistic and delicate if you paint the leaves and just make it even and more simple. And you know, maybe you don't let the leaves touch each other, so you create like that gap and everything is very clear, very visible. So that's also an option for you. I ended up going with this concept of more of like a line art thing. I don't necessarily love it. So to explore a little more of this botanical concept in a different way, I decided to attempt a mix between the more structured pattern systems that we were working with before and the loose botanicals. So I'm going to draw a very symmetrical flower by drawing a vertical line in the center of the page and then 2 flowers coming out on each side, very symmetrical, and 1 main flower on top. And the leaves will just fill up the rest of the page. This is a very simple design that will look amazing in her gallery wall, and it will be a good balance with the more abstract pieces we've created so far. And also, if you are a bad plant mom like me, no shame, okay? I water them, they still, I don't know, okay? I don't know what it is, but you can just add more plant energy in your home through art. Actually, did you know that? That's an actual thing. Psychologically, if you look at a fake plant and a real plant, your brain will react the same. So by adding plants in other ways through art, for example, subconsciously plants will represent life and growth and creativity, blossoming. So that's kind of why I love plants. They're just so powerful energetically, and it's just great to have some botanical art around, in my humble opinion. And yeah, I just really love this one. This is one of my favorites. I'm definitely gonna explore this concept a little more in my future artworks. Now I'm going to get out of the box a little bit by painting a box. I know, I'm so funny. I actually saw this on Pinterest and I really liked how we composed with the other artworks. Like, I wouldn't have this alone on a wall, but I think it will look good together with everything else. So let's try and see if we like it, okay? Everything's an experimentation. We are in the lab doing experiments. So as you can see, I have a rectangular paper and the square leaves a piece of white paper at the bottom. This is intentional. Why? I don't know, but there must be a reason. We are deep humans and we see art in an orange square, okay? So the shape of a square represents a stable base, you know, like a cube will never tip to another side because it's so stable. Like, the cube is not going anywhere. It's just like, it's safe. It's on the ground, you know? Like, so this is what squares represent for us. To top all of this off, I'm gonna draw some random vertical lines over to one side of the page, and this vertical movement like this represents growth, again, motivation to get up and do it, and just like, you know, get it done, and just it basically feeds the fire inside of the square. Okay, are you confused? Just don't click out of this video. I'm still drawing. Just watch what I'm doing. I know I'm speaking weird words, but it might make sense one day. To be very honest with you, I'm not actually pulling this out of my ass, guys. I studied this stuff, okay? I've been studying energy and psychology and feng shui for many years. There's a reason behind everything everything we look at is a visual influence on us, and it can help us feel certain things. And that's why it's so good to put intention on artworks, and I love doing that, and I love using art to get to know myself, and I use it as like a self-awareness tool. So yeah, if you want to hear more on that, let me know in the comments because I have so much to talk about. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. And now we're gonna go deeper into the line art game and create this like super delicate pattern with random lines. I'm using a 01 fine line ink pen for this, and all you have to do is create sections on your page and fill them with lines without letting the lines touch each other. So you can create spirals, you can create zigzags, parallel lines, literally anything you want. And you can try this on a separate piece of paper first to see what kind of patterns you actually like and what feels good to you. Like for example, for me, I decided that I don't want any sharp edges, so all of my edges are little curves. I'm also trying to create a good balance between vertical, horizontal, and diagonal lines. So I don't want a spot to have too many horizontal or too many vertical lines, right? So when I see there's too many of one kind of line, I go ahead and try to create some sort of change to the other directions. This is actually really satisfying to do, and even though it's super time consuming, it's very relaxing. Just put on a podcast in the back, put on some music, and it just really almost feels like a meditation to me. You can also play with different colors. You can try using like thicker lines for like a more bold effect. It's definitely going to take less time. Or you can use thinner lines and spend the rest of your life doing this drawing. I'm joking. Okay, I'm joking. But you can take a little longer, use thinner lines, and create like a super smooth and delicate pattern that like from afar, you basically won't be able to see it, but when you come close, you see the delicate lines. I love art like this when it's like, wait, what's that? And you get close and then you see a pattern. I love it. I think it's super cool. Anyway, this is the last artwork of today. You can see how they harmonize super well together, and you're gonna see this gallery wall ready once I finish my dining room renovation. The thumbnail of this video is actually a template, so this is not actually my finished wall, but in about 2 weeks I'm gonna have the renovation done, and I'm gonna post a video for you guys, and it's gonna be amazing, and you're gonna forgive me for not showing the final result today, okay? Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps me out, and I really want to be here for you guys every week. I hope you liked it, and I'll see you again next time. Bye!